Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Dayspring Discussions. I'm your host, Sean McGahee, and this is a show we talk about movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. I am joined today on this lovely Tuesday afternoon by the queen of the Amazons herself, Miss Lisa Locke McGahee. Lisa, say hello.
Hi.
Alright guys, so in preparing the notes for today's show, I wasn't quite sure what topic I was going to do because I had like a DC topic and a Star Wars topic and an X-Men topic, and I was like, what's the theme gonna be? And I thought about it, I was like, wait a minute, these are all topics about directors. So today's topic is movie directors. A lot of directors officially announced or set to be announced for certain movies coming out. So that's mainly what we're going to talk about now. I was going to lead off the show with,
Patty
Jenkins officially signed on for Wonder Woman 2, but we're going to set that as the number 2 story because big announcement just came out no more than an hour ago. One of the things I was going to talk about, our second story, was going to be Rian Johnson saying a couple days ago that he was not directing Episode 9. Now StarWars.com has come out and said that J.J. Abrams is officially returning to direct Star Wars Episode 9. He's also going to help write the script for the film as well. Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy came out and said, quote, "With The Force Awakens, JJ delivered everything we could have possibly hoped for, and I am so excited that he is coming back to close out this trilogy." So, big announcement just came out. Lisa, what do you think?
I mean, I don't really know. I think it's a safe choice.
Yeah, definitely.
Force Awakens was good. He did a lot to get people excited about these Star Wars films again, which I think was good. Kind of reinvigorated Star Wars in a lot of ways. So, I think he obviously is willing to work with them. And
well, he's I think he's still a producer on The Last Jedi, so he's still in the family.
Right. I think I would know more how I feel about him doing this one and not Rian Johnson once we see
The Last Jedi.
Right now, all we know is The Force Awakens in this trilogy. So, from just having that information, I think this is fine. I think it's good. Obviously, he works well with the Lucasfilm, and if he's going to help write it and direct it, I think it's going to go in a good direction. I think it'll be good. But I don't know for sure what I think until we see how Last Jedi turns out, so I can see, like, maybe if I think that Rian Johnson maybe would have been a better fit, or, maybe the fact, I don't know. We don't really know where this trilogy is going yet.
So the original story I want to talk about was Rian Johnson talking about how he wasn't going to direct Episode 9. And how a lot of people were like, no, he should do it. Even John Campea was like, he believed it was going to be Rian Johnson continuing the story. Because Rian Johnson he wrote a treatment for Episode 9. Originally, when he signed on, he was going to write and direct The Last Jedi. And then he was also going to write Episode 9 with Colin Trevorrow directing Episode 9. A little while ago, they announced that Rian Johnson was no longer writing because they said he was going to focus on The Last Jedi, stuff like that. I never in my mind thought that Rian Johnson was going to direct because of time-wise, because Lucasfilm is spitting out these movies so fast to where you only had a year and a half between Last Jedi coming out and then Episode 9 coming out, okay? And to get the same director on that, basically Rian Johnson is so focused on doing The Last Jedi, and I'd rather him keep it that way rather than while he's trying to finish up The Last Jedi, trying to start pre-production on Episode 9. I don't want that. I'd rather him take his focus and keep it on The Last Jedi to make that the best movie possible. And a year and a half would just not be enough time, I feel like, to get Episode 9 around and make that the best movie possible as well. So bringing in another director I thought was always the best way to go. J.J. Abrams, if you were to ask me yesterday, give me a top 5 list of who I thought the director for Episode 9 would be, J.J. Abrams would be on my list because, like you said, he's the safe bet. He's proven himself not only with The Force Awakens, but also with the Star Trek movies and other films and things he's done, such as Lost or Super 8. He's the safe choice. And if anything we've learned recently from Lucasfilm is that when things go awry, you go with the safe choice. Like with what happened with the Han Solo film, Phil Lord, Chris Miller, they basically got fired. Lucasfilm and Kathleen Kennedy were a bit of a trouble there, so what they do, they went with Ron Howard, friend of the family, the safe choice, to take this film and see it through. And I think that's what they're doing with J.J. Abrams, to where they're taking, a bad situation and putting kind of the Band-Aid on it, saying, hey, it's going to be okay, and we're going to see J.J. Abrams bring this through.
I think it's worth mentioning, though, when we keep talking about the safe choice, I don't mean that in a bad way.
No.
You know, like, obviously, I mean, J.J. Abrams is a great director, and Ron Howard, same thing. I mean, I don't think either one of them, and when we talk about them being a safe choice, I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way. I just want to make sure that I'm saying that.
Yeah.
Emphasizing that.
Yeah. And if all of you, a name was being thrown around too was Steven Spielberg, given the fact that, again, friend of Lucasfilm, friend of the family, but I knew that wasn't an option because he was working on Ready Player One. By the time he's done with that, there's no way he'd have time to do Episode 9. So I knew that was... But JJ, the reason I would have put him on top 5 is because he's one of those directors I know... I hadn't heard him working on anything. All the other directors, like, you know, Steven Spielberg and all that, I heard them working on other projects, getting ready for other stuff. Abrams, I don't think before this had, you know, been doing anything. He'd still been producing stuff, but not actually directing. So that's why, you know, to me, it's not a surprise. I don't think it's really a surprise to anyone that, you know, they brought Abrams back to finish this whole thing out. Now, I wanted to take a step back and forget about this for a minute. We were on vacation when the whole Colin Trevorrow thing happened. We heard that he dropped out. We did like a quick Facebook Live video about it, just kind of a quick thing. Now that there's been a couple days to kind of process it, do you have any new feelings about the subject and kind of how all that went down?
No, not really.
Do you think, because this is, you know, the second time in a couple months where Lucasfilm has had to, I guess, let go of the director for an upcoming project. And some people at this point are starting to question Kathleen Kennedy as far as her choices. If we go back, there's Colin Trevorrow. Before that, we had Phil Lord and Chris Miller. Before that, there was Josh Trank, who was signed on for the Boba Fett movie, and then they let him go. There's even talk, of course, we know from Rogue One, where they had Gareth Edwards do his thing. They looked at the end of the film and said, no, that's not what we want. Had to go back and redo that. Gareth Edwards just willing to play ball to fix, you know, what he needed to with all that. So some are just trying to kind of, I don't want to say, start to question Kathleen Kennedy's choices as to whether or not her and her directors can get on the same page as far as what their vision is for their films. Do you see that as a problem?
No, I just think she knows what she wants. And maybe it's something where some of these directors, I mean, this is going to be I don't know if this is real, but maybe it's people coming in and not seeing, you know, some men coming in and be like, this woman is in charge. She says she wants this, but I'm going to do this. And then she's like, fuck, you're not. This is what I want.
So we're going with the sexist angle.
I am. I'm gonna play the sexist card.
All right.
No, I don't know. I don't know if that's actually true. I mean, she's a very powerful woman. She did not get there without proving her stuff. But it wouldn't surprise me if all these men working around her underestimate her. And maybe think, even though she says, this is what we want, this is our vision for this, they come in and they think, they say, that sounds great. And then they come in with this different ideas and she's like, no, this is what we want. If you're not going to do it, I'll find somebody who will. And, I mean, a lot happens. And the thing is, too, they hire people on for these films really early in the process. So, I mean, there's a lot that happens. I mean, we talked about this before, how Star Wars right now has so much going on, not just in the films, you know, with games and books and comics and TV. And there's a lot of stuff happening. And from the time that they decide to make, you know, say, whatever, episode 9, from the time that they know they're going to do it and they hire on someone to do it, there's a big time period of things happening in Star Wars that have to be taken into consideration. Yeah,
and plus ideas change. You know, you can think one idea one day, a month or 2 months or even a year later, you're like, oh no, I want to do this instead.
Right, and in Star Wars, you can't say, what I say right now, like today, what I say today that I want the plot of a movie to be that's going to happen 2 years from now, in 6 months, something could happen in one of the books that totally changes what you have to do there. And if a director that has been hired on is not willing to change, then I think she has every right to be like, look, the vision has changed. This is what has to happen. Get on board or get out.
So, kind of sticking with that, I was going to be my next kind of commentary, because there's rumors or people, or even this idea has been thrown out, that some of the changes were due to Carrie Fisher's death. Because it's been said that General Leia still had a significant role to play in Episode 9. So when Colin Trevorrow was hired on, Kathleen Kennedy, of course, Carrie Fisher was still around, they had a vision of what the story was going to be for Episode 9. Carrie Fisher passed away, they had to change the story, and maybe that new vision is what Kathleen Kennedy and Colin Trevorrow couldn't get on the same page on.
I mean, bottom line for me, I'm not worried. I know that with Kathleen Kennedy at the helm, running Star Wars, I am not worried about the story.
It has to do with track record, because, and this is what we're seeing now in Hollywood with these franchises. Okay, you have these cinematic universes, stuff like this. Using Marvel as an example, okay? The Marvel films have had many directors, but let's be honest, the person running the show is Kevin Feige. He's the run, helping write stuff, producing, on set, he's the one that's steering the ship, so to speak, okay? And it's the same thing with Kathleen Kennedy. She's in charge of Lucasfilm or Star Wars. She's the one that's, in charge, really. And you got to look at the track record. With the Marvel movies and Kevin Feige, most of them have been good. Most of them have worked, so you got to credit Kevin Feige for that. With Star Wars, we've gotten 2 films now. We've gotten The Force Awakens and Rogue One. And when Rogue One, again, looked like the ending didn't work, Kathleen Kennedy and whoever else said, no, this doesn't work. Let's go back and right the ship, and let's make it good.
And it was good.
Exactly.
It was great.
So right now, again, with her in charge, we're 2 for 2. So at this point, we don't have any reason to doubt her choices, whether it be letting go of Colin Trevorrow or Phil Lord, Chris Miller, or hiring Ron Howard and J.J. Abrams to do these films. So just writing the ship. And also, again, it's one of those things, too. I don't want to be a pessimist about it as well, but, they're starting to make a lot of waves in terms of directors dropping and adding. It almost seems like they're Warner Brothers at this point with all their changes going around. But again, we don't have any room to criticize at this point, because from what we've seen with Rogue One and Force Awakens, overall people were happy with that product. People liked the product. So at this point, let's just, see what happens and goes. And J.J. Abrams, again, nobody's going to say, nobody's surprised. I don't think anybody's surprised, and nobody's really worried about the film at this point.
No, I don't think so.
Cool. All right, moving on to the second story of the day. Speaking of strong, powerful women, The Hollywood Reporter is talking that Patty Jenkins has officially signed on to direct Wonder Woman 2. There were rumors, and everyone assumed that Warner Brothers was going to get her to come back and do the film no matter what they had to do. But Jenkins was only contracted for 1 movie, despite the star Gal Gadot, who was signed on for several movies. So they had to go in and renegotiate with Jenkins after the success of Wonder Woman, which made $816 million worldwide. So in her new deal, she is going to get between $7 to $9 million for directing this film, which makes her the highest paid female director in the history of cinema. On top of that, she's also going to help co-write the film with Jeff Johns, and she's also going to be help producing the film too. On top of that, she's also going to get a healthy chunk of the back-end gross for the film's box office.
Why didn't they sign her at the beginning just in case?
Because they were stupid.
Marvel, I don't know how DC, Marvel with everybody.
Well, they do it for their actors, but not directors, I don't think.
But I bet that they do. I bet they have some kind of contract that is like, just in case,
but at the
we
same
can
time,
use you for sequels.
Again, let's talk about it from the Marvel perspective. How many directors came back to do the sequel for their movies? Like, you had Jon Favreau do the first 2 Iron Man.
What about what's-his-face? Gunn.
Huh? Oh yeah, that's right. He came back to do Guardians of the Galaxy too. But yeah, at this point, I didn't think Warner Brothers had so much trouble, and maybe Jenkins didn't want to sign on for it too. Maybe she didn't agree to it. I don't know. But I remember after the success of Wonder Woman, we talked about how Jenkins only signed up for 1 movie. She's gonna make him pay. She's gonna make him pay for this, because given the fact that it was really the first fully successful DCEU film, the fact that it was, financially, critically, and audience successful makes it, to me, the really first successful DCEU film we've seen so far. So the film is set to come out December 13th, 2019. Patty Jenkins now with all her new deal, this to me is really her film. Writing, directing, producing, getting a chunk of the box office. This is all her. And again, that might actually put some extra pressure to where, yeah, Warner Brothers is like, oh, do whatever she wants, do whatever she wants. But if the movie isn't good, it's like, it was her. It was all her. You know, pointing that finger at her, too.
Well, yeah,
so,
yeah, that's for sure.
So, but yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone is surprised that she's coming back.
No.
Given the success of the first Wonder movie. But now, to me, it's like, yeah, it's a good thing, given how good of a director she is. But it's also, you know, puts some pressure to be like, if Warner Brothers is like, nope, we're washing our hands. It was all you on that one. You know, you did everything. So,
yeah.
I don't know. But I don't think it's going to be as bad as what I'm hoping is now with the DC films, you're getting a lot more one voice. Because it seems like, in my opinion, you're seeing the co-chairman of DC Films, Jeff Johns, stepping in more. I mean, there's honestly not a film now that I hear about that's coming out in the DC cinematic universe that he's not attached to, at least for writing, and from that standpoint. And given, of course, I am a fan of Jeff Johns and what he's done with comic books, I'm okay with it. Lucasfilm and Marvel Studios, you need to have that one voice, and that's the thing that Warner Brothers has been lacking with their DC properties. From Jeff Johns' perspective, he's a great storyteller. Anyone who's read any of his books cannot, deny he's a good storyteller. And if he can, nail that part out, there's other people that can help with the producing and directing. If he can write a good script, get a good story in there, and people can follow that, I think we're going to have a lot more success in the DC films going forward. So,
I mean, I think this is a great call. I mean, I do agree in a way that it does kind of give them... I mean, I hadn't really thought about that until you said that. Kind of like some deniability here with putting her in charge of so many pieces of it. It's like, this is her baby now, and so...
Yeah.
I mean, and just in general, most of, the films that have come out, like superhero films, the sequels are not generally as good anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's kind of risky for
some
her.
Are. Yeah, there have been...
Rare.
There's been rare. Let's see here. Sequel, film,
I mean, sometimes the third ones come back with a vengeance.
The third ones usually suck.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can't think of hardly any superhero film.
Maybe I'm just optimistic for Thor Ragnarok to kind of redeem Thor
I would say that, I would say, I guess you could almost say the only thing that comes to mind would be Captain America, whether you like Civil War over Winter Soldier.
Oh,
but really, that's just three solid movies all together. In that, I mean, gosh, a solid you're talking about a sequel that was better than the original in a superhero film.
Well, I'm just saying, even that's equal. Second that was even equal.
I mean, I don't know. I think Batman Returns is pretty good compared to Batman. At first, when I was younger, I liked Superman 2, the Christopher Reeves movie, over Superman. But as I've gotten older, I've kind of appreciated that first Superman film more and kind of switched on that. I'll have to think about that one and get back to you. But okay, so let me ask you, just kind of end this story real quick. As a female, how do you feel about Patty Jenkins now being the highest paid female director?
I mean, I think... I don't like when we talk about... I mean, this is something, too, that bothers me when we talk about, box office. I mean, I think it's hard when you're looking... I mean, I think it's exciting, yes, that she's making a lot of money. That's great, whatever. I don't like when you're looking at things in terms of highest paid ever. Or even like when we talk about highest grossing film ever. Every year, things cost more.
Yeah.
So every year, if you're going to compare her... Maybe if we can find a direct linear relationship to how much women made and looking at average prices of things, that's why I've always thought, with box office, we should talk about ticket sales, not box office.
I agree. How many tickets are sold?
It should be how many tickets are sold, not how much the money made, because everything costs more.
Well,
movie tickets are twice as much money.
But also, they cost more to make now, too.
But not all movies do.
Not all,
I mean,
that's true.
some people still make pretty low-budget films, and we still talk about money made, not profit. I mean, now we talk about profit. We don't talk about, sales from movie tickets or actual number of movie tickets sold. So I mean, I think whenever we talk about how much highest paid, blah blah blah, and I don't think necessarily means you're real good. Look at high paid actors sometimes. They're not always people that I would.
Yeah. They're people that bring in an audience is what they want. I mean,
in general,
say for Tom Cruise, for instance.
Right.
Obviously, he used to be a big draw, but then the latest film, The Mummy, not even crossing 500 million worldwide.
Yeah,
I'm sure he still got paid.
I'm sure he did. So, I mean, I think it's exciting anytime that women are given high, aside from acting, like in the other parts of the movie industry. I think it's great that she's getting recognition for what she did. Mm-hmm. But I agree that, I look at it in a lot of ways. I just want a good director. Mm-hmm. To me, it's not so important that it's a woman. And I know we've heard other people on other movie podcasts and things that we listen to talk about that. Like, for me, it's more important, even as a woman, it's more important that we have a good director directing a film than we have a woman director directing a woman. There are some things where, I do think that women understand women better and men understand men better in lots of ways. But they have plenty of other people working on these films with them. I don't think it's unrealistic to think that a man could direct a woman, a female-led movie. Yeah, it's been done exactly
for many years
and vice
been done
versa.
Well.
I think that I think women have a pretty good understanding of things that they could easily direct a male-led movie just as well as a man in a lot of cases. So I think I just want a good director. Yeah. So I think that's great that they're going to pay her well for what she's doing, but I don't like to make a big I want equality. I don't want more for women. I want women to be treated equally, and that partly means not being drawn out because you're a woman.
Yeah. Well, the thing, when people are talking about Wonder Woman, it's a kick-ass female, superhero movie. I'm like, we've had those before in the past. There's just it's Wonder Woman. And for me, when I think about, people are talking about how awesome Wonder Woman is, honestly, when I think about it, I don't think about it as an awesome girl movie. I'm like, no, it's just an awesome movie. Yeah, it's just a good story. It's not a good female story. It's just a good story,
Although, to contradict you, there really haven't been that many female superhero films that have been any good. Most of them have been crap.
Well, I'm talking female, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That's a strong female character.
That's a TV show. Right, I get you. I'm talking when you look at
Underworld.
That's not really a superhero. It's a vampire film.
It's in this fantasy genre.
Right, but that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about fantasy genre. If we're just talking about actual, superhero
females.
Look at superhero movies that exist with female-led superheroes.
Tank Girl.
They're all junk. Exactly. This really, so to go against that point, this really is the first strong female superhero. Superhero, yes. That's what everyone's talking about. We're not talking about fantasy. We're talking about superhero. There have been other really good female-led fantasy, sci-fi type roles, yes. Mm-hmm. But in terms of actual, superheroes, this is the only one that's actually been any good.
I'm trying to think what else there's been.
Catwoman?
No. Not female, female-led, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So we're not talking about just in the fantasy genre. We're not talking about vampires or vampire killers.
I could try to make a stretch for the 80s Supergirl film, maybe, but no, that was pretty crappy.
That was pretty crappy. Exactly. So this is a big step. That's why people are making such a big deal about having this female Wonder Woman, this female superhero, because, people talk a lot about this is the first superhero that little girls can look up to. And it really is. Little girls don't look up to Buffy. Little girls don't look up to...
Whoa.
Okay, some little girls might. But little girls don't watch Buffy. That's a show from the 80s that's not even for kids.
90s.
Whatever.
Late 90s.
Anyway, my point is...
Just get your facts straight first.
My point is, this is a big deal for little girls who want to have a superhero that they feel like they could be. Not all girls are like our daughter who thinks Captain America is amazing and could be him. She doesn't care that he's a guy or that he's a girl. She just thinks he's awesome, and she thinks that she could be him. But not all little girls are like that. A lot of little girls want to see a superhero in a dress, who's gorgeous with long, beautiful hair, who they feel like, I could be her, but look at how kick-ass she is, too. This is a big deal for little girls to have someone like this.
That's another reason I think why, going off topic a little bit, nipping out, but why Nora's so into Powerpuff Girls now too.
Yeah, because they're
superhero girls.
Girls, exactly. So that's why this is such a big deal. Yes, in fantasy, even looking at Lord of the Rings, there's a lot of real strong female characters in those films that women can look up to, that girls can look up to, but girls don't watch those movies. Little girls. Mm-hmm. Little girls don't watch Buffy. Mm-hmm. A little girl could watch this movie.
Yeah.
And a little girl can see this character out there in commercials and on clips that they see on TV and the trailers, and they can see this Wonder Woman and they can look up to her, and that's a big deal. It's a really big deal for girls. So don't downplay that.
I'm not downplaying. I'm just saying for me, I look at it as a good story, not a good female story.
I agree, but but you can't.
I'm very equal in my judging.
Yeah, that I appreciate that. But I mean, as much as I agree. I wish that there didn't have to be gender, that we didn't have to fight for equality, because it should. I just feel like it should be innate. It shouldn't matter what your gender is. Everyone should be able to be what they want and to do the same things, and if they want. But this is a huge deal for little girls to have this kind of role model.
We got a little political there for a little bit.
It's true.
Okay. All right. So let's step off. Go
we just
to our
forget
next
about
topic.
it because our little girl is not real feminine.
No, hey, trust me. The female stuff is way more prevalent in my mind than now that I have a daughter than it usually is. Like at work, when we're flipping through channels and WNBA comes on, the guys are like, WNBA. I'm like, whoa, guys, let's give it a chance. So I've grown since I've had a daughter. All right, guys, stick it.
You should have grown since you have a strong wife.
That too. Okay. Well, this is even more. It's more growth. How about that? I've grown, and then I keep growing. Okay. They've announced that Gavin O'Connor is set to direct and also write the upcoming Suicide Squad sequel. This is all according to Deadline. Gavin O'Connor, best known for directing films such as Warrior and The Accountant. The first Suicide Squad movie that came out last year was directed by David Ayer and made $745 million worldwide at the box office. With this, Gavin O'Connor, I've seen The Warrior, I've seen The Accountant. Both pretty good movies.
I haven't seen either.
I enjoy both those movies, so Gavin O'Connor, as a director, total faith in, that's fine for me. Much like I had faith in David Ayer when he came on to direct Suicide Squad, because I liked Fury, I liked End of Watch, solid director. For me, this story's about, I don't want another Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody that I really talked to liked the first Suicide Squad movie, okay? And it had nothing to do with the director, okay? Like I said, David Ayer, what happened was David Ayer actually admits that the film was taken away from him by the studio, because what happened was Warner Brothers got jittery after the reception of Batman v Superman, and as they were finishing post-production on Suicide Squad, the studio took the film away from him. So it's not the director that's, making or breaking that first Suicide Squad movie. It was the studio and their reaction to Batman v Superman that I think really hurt that film. Gavin O'Connor, again, great director. Is he going to have the same problems that David Ayer had, where the studio might give him too many notes or might try to hijack the film from him? That's what my worry is.
I think it'll be probably worse for him, because the likelihood that people are going to like this movie any better is slim. I think a lot of people aren't going to go back to see a sequel because they didn't like the first one.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that it made a lot of money, and worldwide, sure, I still think the movie will probably do well worldwide, but I think the domestic intake on this one is going to be way, way worse. Yeah. And I just think I'm surprised that he even, I don't know much about him, but I'm surprised he's even, willing to take this on. Well. Because, he has to know this movie's not going to do well.
He has, it's like everybody who takes any job, they're going to get paid for it. So,
well, yeah, but still, why would you take on a film that you knew the first one wasn't well liked?
Because most Suicide Squad wasn't well liked, it was well known. And these are movies much like, say, James Gunn. How many people knew James Gunn before he did Guardians of the Galaxy?
Right, but that was different. He went into an unknown product, not one that was bad.
But it's still almost the same thing, where he knows whether this film is good or bad, it's going to get his name recognition out there. He has a feeling he can steer the ship into something good. Mm-hmm. So that's what he's thinking. He's thinking, okay, I'm a good director. I can make this a good movie, no matter what the previous film did.
I just don't understand it, especially knowing that with the previous film, the things that David Ayer has said publicly about how they didn't let him do what he wanted. It just doesn't make any sense to me why anybody would even... I don't understand why they're making this at all. I don't understand why this director has signed on to do it.
What I don't understand is why they're doing this movie to where they have so many of the movies that they've announced. Mm-hmm. I know they're pushing this, same thing reason they're pushing, Wonder Woman 2. Aside from Justice League and Aquaman, the only official release date we have is a Wonder Woman 2. We have a Suicide Squad 2 announced with the director. We don't have a release date announced with it, though. The only solid movies we have after Justice League are Aquaman and Wonder Woman 2, much to all the other names they've thrown out, like a Harley Quinn and Joker movie, or, a solo Elseworld Joker movie, or I don't know, a Gotham City Sirens, and a Batman. All these movies that they've announced and taken away, and we don't know what exactly they're doing yet. I know why they're doing Suicide Squad 2, because the first one made money. And of course, they want to play, like we said, the safe bet. Well, the first one made money. People know the characters. It's a safe bet that the next one's going to make money too.
Yeah, but that doesn't make any sense that they would even be thinking that way. Because if they were just thinking about making money, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. They don't just... I firmly believe that the people who make the decisions for DC don't just want to make money. I do think that they want to make good films that people like.
Well, because people like movies, they'll make more money. Yes, I totally agree.
That's what I mean. So why would they have chosen, of the very few sequels that they're going to be doing, one that is for... Like, why don't they just make some more about characters we haven't met yet than doing a sequel of a film people didn't really like?
Well, because people know the characters, and people like familiarity.
Yeah, but people know the other characters. People know the Flash. People know these... Cyborg, at least, as much as they...
No, they don't.
They didn't know any of the characters in this movie besides Joker, really, and Harley Quinn.
But now they do, so now they're playing on the safe bet.
But
we don't know Cyborg, we don't know this Flash, because Justice League hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, but people don't even really go knowing the Suicide Squad characters. People don't really like it. Well, everyone kind of likes Deadshot now. That's his name, right?
Deadshot, Will Smith, yes.
All right, because it's Will Smith. But the rest of the
characters... They
like
Will Smith, they don't like Deadshot.
Right. The rest of the characters in that film, I don't think people came out of that film thinking, that wasn't a very good movie, but man, I really enjoyed those characters. I can't wait to see them again in another one.
Well, I can go on my long rant about how Warner Brothers never has any faith in anything except for Batman, although now they have faith in Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
But, I mean, again, let's talk about the movies I just announced. Harley Quinn and Joker, Gotham City Sirens, The Batman, a Joker standalone filming. What do those films have in common? Yeah. They're all Batman related. They're going on the safe bet, and what's always made the money is Batman. So they're sticking with Batman type stuff as opposed to the plethora of characters they have to choose from. I think Justice League is going to change their mind, though. You're going to look at not only the Justice League like Aquaman, Flash, Cyborg, you're also going to see the new gods come out like Steppenwolf, Darkseid, and I think they're going to realize that people... Back in the day, people might be a little more closed-minded, but again, we're living in a world of post-Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Wonder Woman, Thor Ragnarok, expanded out there, crazy idea, stuff. We can step outside the box, we can make something a little quirky, a little crazy, and people will like it as long as it's a good story and have characters we care about. So, alright, well, I did have one more story, but I'm going to skip it for now because we ran out of time. And that's going to be it, guys. So let us know. Are you excited about these directors? Patty Jenkins signing up for Wonder Woman 2, JJ for Star Wars Episode 9, and Gavin O'Connor for Suicide Squad 2. Let us know. Hit us up, dayspringdiscussing@gmail.com. You can also find us on the Facebook group or on Twitter. Hit me up on Instagram or Twitter, SlimDayspring12. Anything else for me?
Nope.
Nope. That'll be it, guys. All right. So, until next time, may the Force be with us all.